Coming up on OU Nightly. Sad news for the first family of Sooner football. And
in the videos he was showing on the house floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with.
A 180 from Oklahoma's junior senator, what he's saying about Matt Gaetz now. Plus, new developments in the year-old saga at the Norman Public Library. This is OU Nightly.
So got it checked out, and her cancer had returned.
Sooner Nation pauses to remember that there is often more to life than just football. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Sofia Cabrera.
And I'm Chewy Dominguez. We begin tonight with the words that shocked Sooner football fans. Brent Venables, the head football coach, reveals his wife Julie's breast cancer is back.
Venables shared the news during his weekly coaches show last night. OU Nightly sports reporter Brooke Greggs joins us now. Brooke, he was a little choked up.
Yeah, Sophie and Chewy, his voice did break at first, but as he talked a little more about what's happening with his wife, Julie, the news was positive.
We put together a really good game plan. We consulted with lots of different people and went to New York City. They've got a really good specialty hospital there. And so for the last several months, she's been going back and forth and doing her chemo treatments there, and then last Monday she had a surgery to remove her lymph nodes and her tumor, and she's doing amazing.
Venables and his wife have 4 children, sons Jake and Tyler, and daughters Lainey and Addie. He says his wife is in good spirits and is doing well now. He added that the situation is in God's hands, and the big part of the battle was Julie wanting to fight and keep swinging. He says that is just what she is doing now. Venables missed the SEC coaches teleconference last week and a media interview, but you can imagine the team, the athletic department, and many fans are understanding of that now. Several sports dignitaries are calling for prayers for the Venables family. We'll add ours to those as well. Chewy.
Thanks, Brooke. To Washington, D.C. now, and a week of whirlwind cabinet picks from President-elect Trump. One Oklahoma senator is facing questions regarding one controversial pick. Gaylord News reporter Victoria Anderson has a story.
Sooner Senator Markwayne Mullin has been in the spotlight the past couple weeks, and though the saying goes all press is good press, the senator's former comments on Trump's AG pick, Matt Gaetz, have put him in the hot seat.
Senator Mullin, welcome to Meet the Press.
Thanks for having me on, Kristen.
Clarifications and cleanups were crossed off the list for one senator this Sunday after President-elect Trump's pick heard around the world sent shockwaves across the aisle. Trump's Attorney General pick is a man with many enemies, including Senator Markwayne Mullin.
In the videos he was showing on the house floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink.
His own colleagues are saying he crushed ED meds and slept with a 17-year-old.
A CNN interview from early October resurfacing after the pick as a running joke at the late-night desk. But the punchline is way more recent.
I completely trust President Trump's decision-making on this one.
I don't get it. Do you hate Matt Gaetz or not, Markwayne?
Mullin's internal battle between a Trump fan and a Gaetz hater playing out in the public eye.
I have no doubt that President Trump believes that Matt Gaetz is the right person to do the right job, but at the same time, the background of Matt Gaetz does matter.
The senator coming face-to-face with his past on Meet the Press, showing support for Trump's picks while pushing for the release of any House investigation findings on Gaetz.
Senator Markwayne Mullin, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Mullin now hoping to fade out of the spotlight and let the resume of Matt Gaetz speak for itself. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Victoria Anderson, Gaylord News.
And Republican senators are hoping to start cabinet confirmation hearings as early as January.
In Washington, D.C., a bill that could end nonprofits across the U.S. Gaylord News' Ireland Fitzer has more on that story from the Capitol.
Congress is considering a bill that would give the Secretary of Treasury the ability to deprive nonprofits of their tax-exempt status if proven to be a terrorist-supporting organization. Now, the bill was very vague in what that definition means, but it says any organization providing material support to terrorist groups could be considered one. Now, this has organizations worried about being dismantled, including hundreds of civil liberty groups, religious and human rights organizations. Now, we aren't entirely sure how this will affect groups back on campus in Oklahoma just quite yet. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Ireland Fitzer, Gaylord News.
Thanks, Ireland. The Manhattan District Attorney agrees to postpone sentencing in the president-elect's hush money case. OU Nightly's Oliver Schaefer has this and the rest of today's national and international headlines from the News Center.
With the DA agreeing to postpone sentencing, this will give prosecutors time to litigate the president-elect's expected motion to dismiss the case. In a letter to the judge, the DA's office acknowledges Trump is not likely to be sentenced until the end of his next term as president. But the DA fights for the felony conviction to stand. Trump was convicted in May on 34 counts of falsifying business records over payment made to his then attorney Michael Cohen. The money was to pay adult film star Stormy Daniels from speaking out about an alleged affair between the 2016 election. A House Republican introduces a resolution to ban transgender women from using women's restrooms in the U.S. Capitol building, less than 2 months before America's first out transgender person enters Congress. Sarah McBride will be sworn in January as a representative from Delaware. Mace says McBride is a biological man who does not belong in women's spaces.
PTSD from the abuse I've suffered at the hands of a man, and I know how vulnerable women and girls are in private spaces.
McBride says this is an attempt to distract from the real problems Americans are facing. An anonymous man describing himself as a celebrity files an extortion lawsuit against the attorney representing the alleged victims of Sean Diddy Combs. The John Doe claims Houston attorney Tony Busby is trying to get him to pay money to avoid the release of allegations against him. Busby represents at least 120 victims of Sean Diddy Combs. And on the 1,000th day of war, and 2 days after the president gave the green light, Ukraine fires U.S.-made missiles deep into Russian territory. This marks a major escalation in the war. Sophia, Chewy?
Thanks, Oliver. Nearly 7 months after Norman Central Library's indefinite closure, Pioneer Library System is filing a lawsuit against the city of Norman. OU Nightly's Kennedy Patterson tells us what led to Pioneer's decision.
And now we're all stuck without a library and a big lawsuit and lots of money being spent.
The library that once brought excitement to the city of Norman is now a disappointing topic for residents.
I was kind of upset about it because I feel like that it should have been managed a little better.
Pioneer Library System says the claim was filed for the finances lost from the closure due to extensive mold damages.
It's just a necessary step right now to ensure that when everything is settled, that we have taken the necessary steps to preserve our financial resources for our library services.
Since the Central Library's closing, residents have begun visiting Norman's East and West libraries, but say the experience just isn't the same.
The Central Library was really the centerpiece, multi-storied, many different kinds of activities, rooms with 3D printers and rooms where people can create things, and just a lot of resources that the other two branch libraries really don't have.
With residents questioning what's next, Pioneer's response was,
at this time, we are not planning on tearing that building down. That is a rumor that's circulating in our communities and is not in the works. I can say in confidence that we are all working toward that resolution and want to see this building back open for our communities as soon as possible.
The city of Norman was aware of the filing of the claim and have respected Pioneer Library System's decision during this process. In Norman, Kennedy Patterson, OU Nightly.
The tort claim would recover finances lost for Pioneer Library System. The library says there is still no date to reopen. And yesterday we saw some strong winds here in Norman, but today has seemed to be a peaceful, sunny day.
That's right. We had quite a change in weather overnight, and we might be looking at another chilly change tonight. OU Nightly's meteorologist Dylan Strelko is in the studio today to give us a glimpse at what we might see tonight. Dylan?
Well, that's exactly right. We are expecting a cold front to make its way later on this evening, but right now sitting at 64 degrees here in Norman. Pretty comfortable right now, but like I said, that cold front's going to come through tonight and it's going to cool us down, so getting pretty chilly overnight with a low temperature of about 41 degrees with a light northwest wind of about 5 to 15 miles per hour there. But coming up later on in the show, we're going to be talking about that cool down that's going to be bringing near freezing temperatures to the area, as well as a drier pattern setting in.
Thanks, Dylan. Coming up, we're looking at a real gem of a pet looking for her home.
This dog sure is a shining star. Coming up, it's the pet of the week.
And updates on water service lines affecting Norman residents.
Learn how Norman might contact you about your water after the break. Another pet is in the spotlight this week, and she needs to find her forever companion. OU Nightly's Savannah Simmons has more on how you can help find her a home in today's Pet of the Week.
Yes, that spotlight shines bright on Diamond this week. I got a chance to meet her and the adoption coordinator of Norman Animal Welfare and got to learn a little bit more about what makes Diamond not just a girl's best friend. If you're looking for a shining star to take home, look no further. Diamond may be your hidden gem.
That she is just playful, but she's also wants to come and see us.
The 4-year-old mixed breed pup has been at Norman Animal Welfare since July and is looking for a family.
She doesn't need all the flashy, all the flashy toys. She doesn't need to go out to the dog park and go be social. And if she could find herself a homebody who just kind of wants to take her on walks and focus on her, she is going to be perfect for someone.
Stephanie Adams Hawkins is the adoption coordinator and spends her days getting to know the animals at the shelter. And she believes Diamond would be able to chill out with anyone.
She can go and socialize and be around people and be around other dogs, but that's not where she recharges. She recharges kind of being back with her person, by herself. She definitely she can do the outward extrovert thing, but that is not where she kind of recuperates and re-energizes.
Stephanie asks adopters to help find homes for animals in local shelters and take a chance on a possibility to find a diamond in the rough. If you or someone you know is interested in Diamond or any of the other pets from Norman Animal Welfare, you can find their website on normanok.gov under the Resident or Visitor tab. You can also call the center at the number on your screen. It's never too late to help a pet in need.
Thanks, Savannah. If you received a letter from the City of Norman about the unknown material of your water service line, do not worry. These letters are to notify you about a nationwide inventory initiative that started in October. If you received a letter saying your water line is made of an unknown material, no action is necessary. But you should know that it will be surveyed soon to be properly added to the inventory as ordered by the Environmental Protection Agency.
After that step was completed, there was a requirement for certain lead service line categorizations to get noticed. So we provided a letter to those locations where it was either a confirmed lead line, a galvanized requiring replacement, or unknown, letting them know of their status of their service line.
If you're worried about materials in your line, City of Norman says they're working to keep the water safe, and you can contact a private plumber if necessary.
And coming up next, after COVID numbers spiked this summer, there has been a significant decline.
Hear from what OU says what you can do to help keep these numbers on the low.
And the weather pattern is changing, which means cooler temperatures and drier air is on the way. So I'll have all that in just a few minutes. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I am Dylan Strelko, and right now we're looking off to the south here at our National Weather Center. Current temperature right now is 61 degrees, so very comfortable out there today. Our humidity and dew point levels are fairly low, so not too bad out there. Taking a look at the metro, 61 up there in Oklahoma City, but off to the northwest, we're getting a little bit cooler up into the mid-50s, but you'll see out way to the northwest, you're getting down into the upper 40s and lower 50s. But here in southern Oklahoma, you're still hanging out in the lower 70s, so 71 there, down there in Ardmore. What we're going to see tonight, those temperatures are really going to be cooling down into the 50s and 40s. The sun is going to be setting just a little bit after 5 p.m. That's when we'll start to see those temperatures cool down this evening. The winds will start to pick up just a little bit this evening, but nothing too crazy. And you'll see the temperatures way early tomorrow morning, 41 degrees here in Norman, but near freezing and even below freezing temperatures up there in northern and northwestern Oklahoma. So that's something we're going to be definitely watching over the next couple of days here in Norman, and especially on Friday and Saturday as well. A low temperature of 37 degrees there on Friday here in Norman. And we're going to talk about the rain over the last couple of days has been fairly unprecedented. Right now we're sitting at the second wettest November, 7.82 inches of rain, just under that number 1 mark for the wettest November on record. But taking a look at the pattern right now, we're going to see that pattern shift, the area of high pressure start to build in, and we're going to see that really dry pattern settle in over the next couple of days. The rain will be out west and out east, but we're going to see those consistent temperatures over here in Oklahoma, and that'll be sticking around with us through at least this weekend. And speaking of this weekend, we have the game day forecast coming up with temperatures at 62 degrees at tailgate, but we're going to see those temperatures cooling down into the rest of the evening, and of course your 7-day forecast as well, seeing the temperatures coming consistent into the 50s, a little bit warmer this weekend, 68 on Sunday, but cooling back down this upcoming week.
Thanks, Dylan. OU Health wants to make sure you're careful about COVID this upcoming holiday season. They say COVID positive test numbers are at 9.8% after spiking to over 23% this summer, and that a vaccination can help prevent illness, severe hospitalization, and death. COVID vaccinations are available at your local drugstore or doctor's office. And with a bowl game on the line, OU football has 2 more chances to keep their streak going.
Brooke, should Sooner fans get their hopes up at all?
They can certainly get their hopes up for tonight when women's basketball plays their first away game. But back on the gridiron, the search is on for an offensive coordinator to put some more points on the scoreboard next season. Brent Venables tell you who he has his eyes on next. Hello, I'm Brooke Griggs, and it's time for sports. OU football is still looking for an offensive coordinator. During Brent Venables' press conference, he was asked about Dan Mullen. Venables told reporters, "I'm not going to comment about the details of the search. I reached out to him a year ago. Here's the latest."
I haven't put a hard deadline on it, making that decision and doing the process, its due diligence. There's a lot of layers to it, as you can imagine, and I'm very sensitive to what we're trying to do here to finish out the year, give ourselves a chance to win our last 2 regular season games and continue to get better. There's got to be a sense of urgency. There certainly is.
Via the Oklahoman, here's some potential candidates for the job. Ben Arbuckle from Washington State leads the nation's 17th ranked offense. Brennan Marion has UNLV's offense scoring the 6th most points a game in the country, and Buster Faulkner from Georgia Tech has his offense averaging 417 yards per game. And with 2 weeks left against 2 ranked opponents, OU football is 5-5 as they prepare to take on Alabama, who are 10th in the playoff rankings. Quarterback Jackson Arnold says as he gets ready for this game, the past is in the past, and all they can focus on now is the future.
For me in the quarterback room, I got to look back at the film and watch it, and can't fumble like that, can't turn the ball over. But at the same time, we got 2 more games, 2 more great teams we got to play, so really just got to put it behind us and move forward. And I feel like we can do that every week. Stuff just hasn't gone our way sometimes. I've made mistakes. Other people made mistakes too. Like sometimes things just don't click, and that's life. But I feel like every week's the same thing. We just got to go out and play together and execute at a high level.
And I know it's fall, but is it ever too early to talk about the spring game? Mark your calendars, OU fans. OU announced the 2025 spring game will take place on April 12th, where fans can get a look at new players and the new offensive coordinator. And moving on to the courts, Oklahoma women's basketball plays their first road game of the season at Wichita State tonight at 6. The Sooners are undefeated and ranked 9th in the AP poll. This team has won 3 straight games by 30-plus points for the first time in 39 years. Chewy, Sophia.
Thanks, Brooke. Coming up, the sports talk doesn't stop there.
We're talking about a peculiar yet impressive Olympic event up next.
I'm Abigail Nickel at the OU Nightly Update Desk. A group called Oklahoma United files an initiative petition to open the state's primaries. Currently, you can only vote with your party in the primaries, and Governor Kevin Stitt and the Lieutenant Governor agree it should remain that way. Oklahoma United has 90 days to collect just over 170,000 signatures to make it a vote of the people. Sophia, Chewy.
Thanks, Abigail. Now take a look at these Olympic Games, the Housekeeping Olympics. The 34th annual event took place at Michelob Ultra Arena in Las Vegas yesterday. 13 teams competed in creative games such as bed making, mop relay, a vacuum race, and buffer pad toss. The event celebrates those that are the heart of the house in many hotels and gives winners gold, silver, and bronze medals. And thank you so much for watching OU Nightly.
Be sure to watch OU weekdays live at 4:30. Good night.